going on, everybody? How are you? Happy Tuesday. Hope all is well. Hope your week is starting well. It's Phil Russert of Philbo Entertainment Promotions, among other things. As usual, we have our weekly spotlight on some solicitations in the Philbo distribution catalog. We're going to be moving the website to another site that's a lot more user friendly, a lot better features for myself and Maura, etc. And it's going to be even better. The first catalog sales were well above projection, and I'm very grateful for that. We hope to continue that and grow in second catalog sales. The second catalog is out right now, and the third. They overlap, August and September. And reorders are still available for the July catalog. So if you missed out on the July catalog, you can still reorder. Anyway, and those books will be in stores October 15th. I promise you they will be delivered earlier and as packed as nicely as possible. And we really want to build a relationship and come out of the gate strong. So having said that, hey, Charles W. Morgan, what's going on? Charles W. Morgan, Cold Cutter number 5, coming to Kickstarter very soon. Go check out Charles W. Morgan's page to see, especially if you love crime noir, if you love action, if you love stuff like, what's his name? Oh, my God, I'm losing my mind. Oh, wow. John Sable Freelance, stuff like that. Very cool stuff. Charles is a good man. He's up in his game and art. Go check it out. Support indie. Anyway, so I just want to say tonight's guest is not just a publisher that is in the catalog. I've known Jason for about 5 years now. When my life was threatened by COVID and I was in bed for 6 weeks, I actually developed a friendship and started talking to Jason. He kept me company while I was stuck in bed over a Facebook DM. And it was at that point that I got to read Tales from Neroesville number 4. He asked me to take a look at it and just a quick copy at it, just make sure everything was cool. And right away, I was hooked on the book. I thought it was really cleverly written and it was really well done. And I was very, very happy to read it. And I knew right away that the guy knows what he's doing. So anyway, we developed a friendship, and Jason is the letterer on Tragedy. He has been since day one, and he formats almost all of my books. Actually, maybe all of my books. He formats them all. So Jason has been a lifeline for me. He's been amazing and extremely reliable for Philbo Publishing. And to be honest with you, he's probably the most reliable guy I've ever worked with. He's never let me down. No matter how hectic his life is and crazy, he has always come through for me. And I just wanted to say that before he comes on screen so he doesn't feel, awkward or whatever. But Jason is a friend, he's a colleague, and he's really great at what he does, but he's extremely professional and he never lets you down. And when he says he's going to do it, he damn well does it. And that's very rare these days, just with people in general. So I want everybody to know that supporting his book is supporting a great story, but it's also supporting a really, really solid human being, despite being a Bills fan. So just want you to understand that. Anyway, without further ado, the owner of Knuckle Supper Studios, the creator and writer of Tales from Neroesville, the letterer of Tragedy and other various Philbo Publishing books and other books out there like Brent Peoples' book, etc., formatter of my books. He worked on Cold Cutter for Charles. The guy is a behind-the-scenes workman with a great tool belt, and his name is Jason Meadows.
Well, thank you for the kind words, but mostly thank you for clarifying that I kept you company over Facebook Messenger and not in your sick bed with you. People think the two of us were curled up in your sick bed, flipping through my books.
He was spooning me. Yeah, I made sure to add that in, absolutely. And the funny thing is, I didn't even know what you looked like at the time. I thought for some reason you were older, like you were 60-something years old, probably because you're a curmudgeon like me, but... I'm
getting there. I'm not getting any younger.
That's for sure. So I'm glad to have you on. You're in all catalogs right now, and we have 3 books we're going to go over. But before we do that, just tell us a little about yourself and where did you come up with Knuckle Supper Studios? Because I really like the name and I like your logo. It's pretty freaking cool.
Wow. Well, I've been a comics fan since I was 13. It was actually G.I. Joe cartoon. They got me into comic books. They showed an ad for, I think it was issue 24 at the time, and I, ran upstairs with my mom, like, Mom, there's a G.I. Joe comic book. We got to find a comic book store. And my mom, being the awesome human being, she's like, I know where one is. And that weekend we went out, and it was this little comic shop in a flea market, and he just had, walls of books, and I fell in love. I didn't realize, I'm not as smart as I look. I didn't realize the books come out weekly. So I had her taking me out there every week to see if a new issue of G.I. Joe came in. And, the weeks that it didn't come in, I would grab some other books. And for some reason, I gravitated towards the indie books, like, Whisper, Cat and Mouse, books like that, that were from small publishers, and just fell in love with them. And, I always wanted to create something. And then finally I got to a point in my life where I was like, I gotta get these stories out of my head, or they're going to, make me crazy. And,
too late.
I had a short temper growing up. I've mellowed in my old age, but there was a TV show called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Anyone who has seen it will know it and love it. That's probably about 0.1% of your audience. And the guy would always say to one of the other characters, would you like a knuckle supper, Sanchez? And because the character's name was Sanchez, instead of a knuckle sandwich. And that just always stuck with me. And then one of my earliest co-creators back in the early days of creating, his email was Knuckle Supper, and man, it just stuck with me. Family's Irish, John L. Sullivan, the old Irish bare knuckle fighter and boxer. He became my logo, and it just kind of went from there. I thought it was really fitting and kind of a unique name, and it just stuck.
Very cool. Yeah, I like it, and the logo is great. It fits perfectly. And knowing you the way I do, yeah, I see it. Fellow Irishman here. So anyway, very cool. Now, you launched with us, and you've been in every catalog so far. We're going to go over to the catalog, and we're going to take a look. And this is the first issue of Tales from Neroesville, which is, and there's your logo just for people to see, is very cool. I'm going to take us off screen so that we can get a better look at the book. So first of all, is this an ongoing series, a limited series? You have just 12 issues? What's the plan?
Tales from Neroesville is an ongoing series. It's a superhero anthology series. And the first issue there is part 1 of Lightning Balls. That's a 2-issue short story. There's some 1-issue stories. I throw in some 2 issues, 3-issue stories as the stories go. But it's just, as the story comes to mind, it's what character, is best suited for that. Essentially, I'm trying to introduce my full universe in one title. Guys like us, we can't have 4, 5, 6 monthly titles come out. We can't be putting out that many different titles at a time. So I'm trying to introduce readers to my universe, and see who sticks, see who becomes popular with the fans. So, but
this works because there's Astro City. There's plenty of anthologies that have that tie that keep different characters, and it keeps it fresh for the reader each week or each month. But there is that anchor, so that's good.
Yeah, and when a character or when a story comes to mind, Lightning Balls was probably one of the first stories that ever, started to develop in my mind. But then Hero and the Lamb started, growing in the background of my mind. Well, that story wouldn't really work with these characters. And Day at the Beach is kind of like a modern day EC horror story. That's not going to work with Happy Jack or Lightning Dog or Airball. So, it's fun to be able to branch out and tell different kind of stories and introduce different characters.
Now, I have to be honest with you, Happy Jack, I like his design, and I would love to see a series with him. But little tidbit, guys, Happy Jack is an Easter egg in Tragedy #1. If you can go find it. Anyway.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
And Happy Jack was actually the first character I created, and he is kind of the one that kickstarted this whole thing. I used to sell plumbing supplies wholesale, and I had to deal with a company out of New York. And you know how New Yorkers are. They're a bunch of dicks. So this guy...
I'm in New York, I'm a New Yorker.
I'm aware. And, you would call these guys. I'm like, I need whatever it was, a Golden Harvest toilet tank for a 1981 American Standard, whatever. And he'd be like, no, click. Like, there was no, let me check, hold on a second, hey, how you doing? And this guy is like snapping at me, and I'm like, all right, well, thanks there, Happy Jack. And the guy's starting to say thank you. And then he drops an F-bomb on me, and I hear, this is the old day of hand phones. I hear the phone slam down, and I just chuckled to myself, and I had the name Happy Jack rattle around in my head for the rest of the day. I went home that night and sketched out, a really horrific sketch of the character. And so I'm like, what can I do with this guy? And the story just started to grow from there. So, yeah, he was the very first. He kicked off Neroesville.
By the way, DM Ray, who does Madcaps, Jason formats his book too. So Jason's a behind-the-scenes utility guy, man. I'm telling you, you should hire him. He's great. Plus, he's broken, has 18 illegitimate kids. So popular. DM's funny because DM Ray is the polite Canadian, while I'm the curmudgeon New Yorker. But anyway, we're like a buddy cop duo. Anyway, actually, do you have a graphic of Happy Jack you could throw in the Facebook DM, and I'll put it up and show people because I really like his aesthetic.
Yeah, acting like I know how to do stuff.
DM said you do a great job. He's saying that because
appreciate that. And it's the little things behind the scenes that are not that hard to do once you know how to do them. Like formatting a book isn't crazy hard, but
right.
there's definitely like an art to it and getting it right. Hopefully this one. Well, here's one, Phil. It's different poses that I use for different graphics. But doing those little things behind the scenes.
Yeah, I really like this. Sorry, go ahead. I actually want to do a tragedy Happy Jack team up. I think it would be fun.
That would be fun. And a lot of the guys that I work with, because I have so many different characters and genres within Neroesville, it's fun to think about that sort of thing. It's fun to think about, crossovers with different creators and what we could do. I think Tragedy's universe and Neroesville could easily cross over.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. I really do. And actually, as things develop and we get bigger and better and more revenues coming in, I would love to develop that more. What's up, Len Danovich? Len, drop your links to your campaign. I think you only have like 3 days left. Drop it in there. Feel free. Yeah, so we're going to get back to the catalog, but just to kind of whet people's appetite, tell us about Happy Jack, because he's going to appear in Neroesville in an issue as well. So tell us about him.
Happy Jack, this is the second incarnation of Happy Jack. As a kid growing up, he really liked, the real Happy Jack in Neroesville. He grew up in another state and loved his antics, read his comic books, watched his cartoons, and then one day the original Happy Jack just disappeared. So this character, he moved to Neroesville and decided to take over the mantle. So, he's been in Neroesville now for a couple years as Happy Jack, learning the ropes, learning the city, and doing his best to fight crime.
Very cool. And does he have any powers or abilities, or is that a spoiler, or is he just an excellent fighter?
No spoiler. He was an athlete in school, wrestled, played basketball, and has no superpowers. He just, he knows some martial arts, and he's just a very athletic, and he's a smart guy. He's not Bruce Wayne level of smart, but he can put the pieces together, and he's just out there trying to make the world a better place and make Neroesville safer for its citizens. Very cool.
Yeah, I don't know about anybody, but for some reason, I just really like this aesthetic. I think it's pretty cool. I like the colors. I like the face. The Happy Jack. It's just, it's cool. Very cool.
After I spoke to that guy and started drawing on my desk plotter, one scene that popped in my head was, just getting your ass whipped by a guy with a smiley face mask. Like how defeating that would be.
Right.
But
that's funny.
The people seem to like him. Like he's in the first 2 issues in a supporting role. He's got his own 3-issue arc coming up, and he's just, people seem to like him. He's fun. He's not Daredevil levels of joking around, but he's almost like my Spider-Man type quipping character.
Right. Sorry, that's my phone. Very cool. Very cool. So let's get back to Tales from Neroesville, which you're going to meet a lot of different characters. And that's one of the charms of this book, is that it doesn't get stale because there's somebody new and a new story, and it's just, you don't know what to expect. You're getting introduced to new heroes. So it's refreshing each time. It's like with the tie-in with the city and everything, that you're in something that's growing and continuing, but there's also the freshness and newness of what this new story is going to be. So overall, give us a quick synopsis again about Neroesville for those who are late, and then let's get into the issue synopsis.
The tagline is, in Neroesville, capes outnumber civilians and chaos is just part of the daily commute. Welcome to the most superpowered, villain-infested city on Earth, where surviving the day is the real heroic feat. Essentially, when you go outside, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting some superpowered vehicle or superpowered individual. And it's just, people both love the city and hate the city for that. It's super crime is inevitable. Crime is inevitably going to cross your path in this city. But I don't want it to be dark. This book, I tell people it's a fun book. It's an anthology book, so it's going to tell different kind of stories. Issues 1 and 2 are buddy cop. If you ever read Justice League, the 86 series, I think it was, with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold.
Yeah.
That's what this is. This is me going back in time and writing my own Blue Beetle Booster Gold story. They're,
very cool.
Essentially lovable losers. Issue 3 is, crazy and violent. I tell people if an EC horror book was written in the modern day that was almost a car chase, just a chase from beginning to end, with people getting mowed down, that's what it is. So it's just fun to develop different characters, develop different story types. And one of the most fun parts for me is developing each character's personality, and I read some books where a lot of the characters seem to have the same personality, or they're written the exact same way. They have the same speech pattern. Like,
right.
The person is writing the story or the script as they speak or as they know how to write, whether it's, proper. Not everybody speaks proper English. Phil struggles with English in our DMs constantly. But, it's fun to build those different personalities with people. And, one guy's going to be polite, he's going to be well-spoken. The next guy is going to be a street guy who, cuts the words off and leaves letters off at the end of his sentences and that kind of stuff. And it's fun. I tell people it's a fun book. If you love the Marvel and DC books pre-2000, you're going to love these books. I try to write fun stories. Now, when I say fun, that doesn't mean there's no violence. That doesn't mean there's no cursing. But it's a fun read. When you're done with the book, I want you to say, wow, I enjoyed that. That is my goal. And I just think people are going to like these stories if they give it a chance.
Well, what I liked about it, the ones I remember I started with 4, is it was cleverly written with twists and ironies and like things you didn't see coming. And that's the stuff I love. I love getting caught off guard. I love when they trick you, or when you did. Or even if you maybe have an idea it's coming, just the execution is done well in this book. And I honestly didn't think you were intelligent enough to pull something like that off, but I mean, you do, and you do it well, and I'm impressed. By the way, if you all couldn't tell, him and I like to rib each other all the time. But anyway, Jason's he's one of the old school guys that, you like the people, you bust their balls, and that's why we get along. We don't take things too seriously, and we bust each other's chops. He's got tough skin. But yeah, I mean, I really was impressed with the twists, that you have in some of the issues that people are going to get to read later. Anyway, so let me show you this is the, and I like this cover a lot. This is the cover to the second part of the first story, Lightning Balls, in which is in our August catalog for November release. Again, all three of these are available right now. The number one is available as a reorder, so that can come with issue 2 or issue 3. Just know that issue 2 releases in November, issue 3 releases in December. So if you order, or if you have your store order, let them know those are 2 separate orders. You can't mix them; they got to be separate. But number one can come with either one of those, depending on what you want, because it's now in reorder, and it's just a matter of when we have issues. And I'm waiting on Jason to send me the damn books now.
What
So,
books?
What's that?
I said, what books?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, the new covers, I gotta give a little shout out to Andy Corneon, my artist. He did the books originally, did a great job. He did the original covers that we released on crowdfunding, and they were great. Sold a couple hundred copies. People really liked it. And now with the distribution, I'm remastering the books. I'm redoing the lettering. I'm changing some parts of the script. I read some parts of the script now that I wrote a couple years ago, and I kind of cringe. So I'm tightening that up. And I reached out to Andy. I'm like, hey, can I get some new covers? Some more, action-packed covers. I changed the logo of the books and stuff. And he's doing a great job with these new covers.
Yeah, I like the new logo. I'm not going to lie. I think it added a lot. And yeah, the new covers just give you some energy, which is important. Absolutely. That's the first issue. That's the second. This is my favorite of the 3.
Yeah,
and then, of course, that's the third. And this is really good. This definitely has an EC Comics vibe, just based on the art. It's got an older school feel. And it's fantastic. So this is an ongoing series, correct? How many issues do you have produced, and how many scripts do you have written?
There are 9 issues fully done that I'm remastering now. There are 3 more issues being created right now. Andy is drawing a 2-issue story. He's drawn the first part of it. Art's done. It's colored. I lettered it. It's ready to go whenever. He's penciling and inking the second part now. And Jarvis, I forget your last name, drew the other. It's a 1-issue story. That book's drawn. I'm getting ready to send that out to a colorist. So, when those 3 books are done, that's 12 issues. That's the first year's worth of books done. And then it's up to me I've got, you can't really see here, but I've got a pile of tablets over here that are my scripts. I'm old school. I still do the spiral notebook scripts.
Right.
And that's how I write them out. That's where I tighten them up and do everything before I even go into the computer and do a Word document. But I've got plenty more. I've got at least 4 more stories, which will probably equate to 6 issues that I've got to, when I'm done doing all my work and everybody else's work, I got to sit down and start writing those out and get those off to artists. So
you got to get moving, because you got to keep a monthly schedule, pal.
That's why I have multiple artists, Phil. I can send 3 scripts out at once and have 3 issues drawn at the same time.
Nice. And that's good when it's an anthology, because it kind of meets the genre. That's good. And This is a 24-page full color book every month, correct?
Yeah, the thing about doing indie comics for me that I really liked was like that particular story is 16 pages. So I throw an 8-page filler in. If I don't feel the story really justifies having 24 pages, I'm not going to stretch it out with filler pages.
Right.
So I like doing short little backup stories, or in the remastered ones that are going through Philbo distribution, I'm doing like the old Marvel handbook pages or the DC Who's Who.
Cool.
So I'm, doing the character sheets in the back, and those are really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I like that. I actually, I'm working on a Philbo universe Who's Who book, or Marvel handbook, so to speak, kind of thing. I actually have like 90 characters at this point. And how many characters have you created and fleshed out for this series so far? being that it's an anthology, and you're introducing this entire world that's almost totally populated by superpowered beings. How many do you have?
Well, for probably 25 years, I worked a desk job. So it was easy for me just to jot stuff down. I have a Word document in my computer with at least names and, a description of powers and that sort of thing. I've probably got at least 500 characters on that.
Oh, wow.
Fleshed out. I think we have fleshed out 70, 75.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. So you got enough content to keep you going for a while.
Yeah. And, that's, like I said, doing the anthology, if a story comes to mind, I go through my characters. I'm like, who does this best suit? And I can find somebody. Or just looking at the characters sometimes, that kind of gives me an idea for a story. So it's fun. And I mean, like I said, what I'm really looking forward to is hearing back from the fans and hearing who they like and who they want to see more of. Because some of these characters they're just so much fun to write.
Have you thought about doing a newsletter in the back, like, old Marvel bullpen and stuff, and maybe you can get feedback that way from people who are buying it monthly in stores?
I would like to do that, and I would like, kind of like, you, I think, started doing a letters page, or that sort of thing. I would really like to do something like that with these original books when I didn't care about page count because I just wrote until it was done. It's a little tough to squeeze it in. Going forward, I might try.
Dude, I'm paying for that now.
Yeah, exactly.
36-page stories in tragedy, and I'm paying for it now. Woo!
Dude, the first issue is 32 pages, and I don't know if people fully appreciate the difference in print cost between a 24-page book and a 32-page book.
Yeah.
Because we obviously offer a discount to the stores that order and everything, so. But I'm going to try and tighten up and keep things. Yeah, letters page are missed, and they were so much fun back in the day in the Marvel and DC books, and the indie books were really my groove back in the day, and they had some fun because with the indie books, you were writing directly to the creators. It was the writer or the artist that was reading your mail and.
Kirkman did that with his Invincible and his Walking Dead, and you were writing to him, so that was cool. It wasn't too long ago. I would love to see that revived. Like you said, I did a letters page in my Tragedy Trade paperback, and that was fun. And I had a contest what to name it, and Kenny Calderon, I think, won, and it was Behind the Curtain or something like that. I forget. I want to revive that. And, of course, you were the one who lettered it and formatted it, so you know all too well.
Correct.
Well, that's the thing, Michael. It's good for engagement, but it depends on how much the fan base is looking to engage these days. I mean, times are changed. There's so much out there with social media, etc. And I would hope people would engage because I thought it was great. Absolutely. And I would love to see it back again. Just like I want to see the headshots in the corner box back. That would be fun.
Yeah, so the cover you have up, Phil, go to issue 2 for me if you would. All right, so see the corner box. So issue 1, after I sent you the image, I realized I missed that corner box. So I pulled my logo off. Issue 1 doesn't actually have my logo in the corner. It's got Airball up there running. Issue 2 has lightning balls. And if you go to issue 3, it's got the boardwalk monster up there in the corner. So that's something I started doing I want to start putting characters up there.
So for everybody who receives the books, this will not have the Knuckle Supper. It's going to have a character in there. Very cool.
Yeah. But there's just so many, things that are just little things that people might not even notice that are just fun to do when you're making these books.
I agree. And being that it's an anthology, do you at some point actually tie everything together? Is there like some epic storyline where it all ties together, or it just continues to be focused on different characters at times with different situations?
Different characters, different situations, but I do have my Kingdom Come story kind of in the back of my head, but there's no point in doing it now if people don't know the characters or care about them. So, but now, like when you read issue 4 and the character that comes in and saves the day there's a nod to issues 1 and 2 as to why no other heroes are there. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's all the same timeline. It's all tied together. And there will be, there will be moments in stories that are callbacks to other ones or characters that show up that you didn't think were going to come back.
And do you find it difficult to keep track of everything and how it's going to have its little ties together? Or is that actually fun for you and comes easy? Or is there a challenge with that?
Oh, it's a challenge. With all the head wounds I've had, everything is a challenge, Phil. I have brain damage.
You don't have to tell me.
Yeah. The concussion that I had a few years ago, concussions are the real deal.
Dude, I have 9 diagnosed.
I had 1, and it was a bad one. And I never had one before, so I didn't know what to do. So I went on to then work a 14-hour day, went home, drank a little bit, and took a nap. Because that's the best thing you can do when you have a concussion is take a nap. And
it's the worst thing you can do.
I'm being sarcastic. Do not do that. I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, you have a concussion, you're not supposed to sleep.
Yeah. So, it was a tough comeback from the concussion. No joke aside, there's.
Yeah, and I'm not making that up. I have 9 diagnosed.
Yeah, I believe it. And watching football like I do, go Bills. I think that once you have a concussion, there's no medical. I don't know shit, but it seems like players are prone, more conducive to concussions. I look at Tua Tagovailoa from the Dolphins. He got that first one, and now I think he's had 4. And that's scary. If you've had one, watch it. As a football fan, you might not realize how scary that is. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming to my concussion TED Talk. Anyways, I keep notes. So all that said, I keep notes. I am a spiral notebook guy. When I die, my poor kids come in here and they're going to see all these notebooks and they're going to think I'm the Unabomber. Just, notes everywhere.
The Unabomber from Neroesville.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a character there you could come up with. There you go.
Could be. But yeah.
Do you ever take any of these characters and model them after people you've met in life and people you know?
Oh, yeah. Especially the ones that piss me off. Yeah. Yeah. If you are a jerk and you come at me, there's a good chance you're going to be humiliated in one of my future books.
Hey, I got some people for you.
Yeah. And
I got a whole list.
The book that Andy is drawing right now, there's a little troll online who, he's in there. And Andy's.
Is it someone I know?
No, I'll tell you off there.
All right. Well, I know a big troll. There's actually a dynamic duo of them that would be great to be in.
A couple?
I'm just saying it's a dynamic duo.
Yeah. I can put them in.
Yeah. Anyway, I had a parody that I thought about doing of the couple, and I said, just be better and move on. You're just feeding the trolls. Anyway, which they stalk my page. They're probably watching right now, and now this is gonna trigger 5 fucking posts. Whatever. Got nothing better to do.
The wheels are turning now, Phil.
They sit there and they dox my house on YouTube when I have small children. So trash is trash. You put my family at risk. You went too far.
Yeah. And going the other way, there's a fair chance Phil's going to show up in one of the books. And is he going to be a hero? Is he going to be a stumbling, bumbling sidekick? You never know.
To be honest with you, I would love to see me as a dumb, stumbling, bubbling. Make fun of me, poke fun of me, make it funny. I have no problems with that. I'm not. Please, self-deprecation is fine. That's my humor. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. If I'm in there, you do whatever you want. You will not offend me. You can make me a villain. You can make me a dumbass. You can make me a homosexual, transgender, hero. I don't give a shit. Make me whatever the fuck you want to make me. I'm just happy to be in it.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. So what are the biggest challenges you've come up to with this book? To be honest, I know that, you're not exactly all over Facebook and social media. You're writing, you're creating, you're working, you're doing your things. But what do you think the challenges are to this book to getting people to understand that this is really worth their dollar?
I suck at promotion. You know, I'll be the first to admit that. And I don't have a, conventional job. Like for the longest time, I was working 3 days a week because I could get my job done in 12 to 14 hours a day. But then your butt is just whooped those other days. Right. So, to try and get out there and get on shows and get noticed or do your own channel, like that's one of my goals for this year or going into next year is to get my YouTube channel up and running and, just try and get some eyes on it. That's the hardest part for, I think, any creator or any indie creator is getting eyes on their product. And it's very, there's a lot of competition out there, as you know. I mean, even within the catalog, like we're hoping to sell all the books, but with limited funding, we're even competing with each other. Readers only have so much money. Stores only have so much money that they can put out sight unseen on books. That's us right now. This catalog, these books have not a single issue's hit the store yet, so it's sight unseen. They're ordering our books. Now they've seen PDFs of the books or whatever, but I think that's the hardest part. Once people read the books, they really enjoy it. I do most of my updates and stuff on Facebook. If you search KSS Comics, Facebook /KSS Comics, that's where my stuff is. And, I have people commenting, when are the next books coming out? When are the next books? Where's the new books? Mm-hmm. It's hard to get new people to check something new out with unknown characters. And then with crowdfunding, and as well as anybody, postage is ridiculous right now.
Yep.
I'll put out 3 new books and I'll sell 3 books for $18, which is a hell of a deal. And then somebody in, California or Washington or Texas will order it and it's $8, $9, $10 shipping. Now 3 books are almost $30.
And what's worse is they sit there and raise the shipping costs without giving any heads up or warning. So a campaign goes for a month and then it's 2 weeks to get the funds. And then all of a sudden all the rates went up and it's like you charged $7 or $8 for shipping and now it's $9 to $10. And now you're losing money on shipping because these sons of bitches don't even do a campaign around this time of year because right before Christmas, they're always raising the rates.
And we can't ship comic books media mail.
Nope.
Because of a ridiculous legal thing from, I think, the 70s.
Right.
And spoiler alert, it's because of drugs. As ridiculous as it sounds. That is why we are not allowed to ship comic books media mail. They need to come around and change it, but who cares? Who in the government or anywhere cares enough to say, hey, you know what? Comic books should be able to ship media mail.
Well, here's the thing, too. I know people that are like, I do it anyway because they don't have ads in the books, so who cares? Right. I go, yeah, but the problem is if the post office even suspects, they will rip the package open.
Yeah.
They will. They'll rip it open. And that's happened to people. And I'm not taking that chance. I don't have that kind of money to be taking that chance. And then, so.
But, and that's, I just recently did my first convention in a couple of years. I used to do, conventions. I would do Philly, Baltimore, DC, Pittsburgh, New York, and it was just so ungodly expensive. And I saw the tides turning, and I just recently did a very small comic book convention in Wellsboro, PA. Great people that do it, great people showing up. It was a fun time. But even in that, it's a tiny little town, a tiny con. It was so much fun. You would have been shocked how many people showed up in cosplay, looking for that sort of stuff. And it wasn't comic books. I mean, people were less interested in comic books than they were the other stuff. And, that writing was on the wall years ago with Wizard World. And so that's hard. You shell out, those bigger cons, you'll shell out a couple $100. You'll travel there. You get a hotel. You got to get your meals. And
you spend like $1,000 minimum. You're in a hole.
You're surrounded by old professional wrestlers, old sci-fi actors, people making jewelry, people making leather stuff, people selling corsets. And it got to the point where I would look down an aisle and it was like, out of 20 or 40 tables, there was me and a handful of other comic book creators.
And you know what's worse?
Everything else.
And the thing is, when people sell like merchandise like that, they have these big obnoxious towers that stand on their table up to the front, and you get buried. You can't be seen because you're stuck between two coliseums. It's like two columns. It's like, what the hell? So, I like when I used to run shows, I didn't allow that in Artist Alley because I didn't want anybody to get buried.
Yeah, they use the term artist very loosely with some of those. So I mean, that's that's just nitpicking, but it is what it is.
Look, I'm going to make a quick commentary on what Len is saying here. The industry, believe it or not, in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, is not structured to assist or suit or benefit publishers at all, unless they are on that high Marvel DC level or Dark Horse, and they're selling high volume comics. It just is not, for various reasons. Diamond had geared it to try to they took a general market that helped publishers and made it a niche market where it was only comic shops buying, basically. And then between Diamond and the comic shops, they decided who was worth carrying or not. And that's tough because if you're not Daredevil or Batman, they're going to assume you won't sell. And there's a lot of books that would sell if they gave it a shot, So, and the creators, by the time you give your discount to the store, you give your fee to the distribution company, and you pay your high printing costs, you're walking away with nothing per book. And the stores are getting their 50% markup, and the distributor got their 10, 15, 20%. So everybody else is, and I'm not saying stores are making a lot of money, they're not, but they're making more money than the people that are actually creating the content. And I just think there's just something off with that. I think we need to level the field where everybody's making money. I had a comic store say to me, well, you need us, we don't need you because we're not the big two. And I tend to disagree only because times are changing and people are looking for something new and different, and they're tired of what the big two are doing, and those sales are down. And Marvel and DC are not the bread and butter that are keeping stores open like they were. They're just not.
And you don't see new stores popping up. For a while, back in the 80s and 90s, there would be new stores popping up.
Dude, there were like 7,000 stores in the United States. Now there's 2,000, I'm telling you. So, and the other, it's also funny to me. This is the one thing that always sticks in my craw. I'll go into a comic store and I'll see board games collecting dust up on the shelf. I'll see statues collecting dust, action figures collecting dusts, like silly fig stuff, fig pins or whatever they're called, all sitting there collecting dust. And they'll invest in that, especially like a $600 statue that even at 50, 60% off, they spent hundreds. And they'll invest in that and put it up on a shelf, and it'll sit there for months collecting dust, and they don't care. But a $4.99 independent book, they won't invest in and give a shot for some reason. It seems a little weird to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
And how many of the comic shops do you go in where you see those pegs of action figures hanging on the wall? Because they've got to buy them by the case. You know what I mean? Those carded bubble action figures. They're buying cases of those, hoping to get
hundreds.
Well, you're getting you're getting a handful of the crappy character that's not selling. My local comic store, man, he's had the same figures hanging on those pegs for the last decade or more.
Yeah.
And it's like, at some point, at what point are you just going to mark them down, take a loss, put them things out for $2 a piece or whatever it is, make them go away? You've already lost that money. You're never making that money back.
how many comic stores have you walked in and saw Godzilla Monopoly? And it's still there. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and, you know, that was a $30, $40 game that even if they got it 50, 60% off, you spend $20 on, but you won't spend $2 or $3 on an indie book. It doesn't compute with me, you know, or you'll get mad if you don't get your 50%, 60% off on the indie book, but you'll be okay with, you know, which is a difference of 48 cents or 40 cents, but you're okay with an $800 sideshow statue that, you know, would you get 40% on that? And it's just sitting there because it's a high value ticket item. You know, it's a niche market. I mean, comics are why people are in there. And I really think, here's a real quick story. There is a store, and I forget the name of it. I wish I remembered. And they were in Texas, and they moved to Florida. And it was a female owner, and she supported indie. And she said, and I thought this was great, that she had a nice big display up front of indie, multiple titles, and she would do the talking headers, which is the little synopsis cards that you put up there, which makes a difference because people go, oh, what's this about? Boom, boom, boom. And she said that she outsold Marvel and DC and the big things like 4-1.
Yeah.
And she said, I moved to Florida and I was scared that maybe it was just my area, my demographic area, you know, and because look, I understand there are some retailers that look, they're just in an area that it's just Marvel DC. It's what people want. Although I think you can combat that, but whatever. And she moved to Florida, did the same thing, and was selling indie 4-1 over Marvel and DC. Because indie is not, it's written pure by fans, and it's not what it was. We're hiring professionals now. Writers are better, art is better, stories are better. Now, are there some that unfortunately are just not up to par? Of course. But there are some mainstream books that are not up to par. I mean, there's some Marvel and DC books that are not up to par. I'm sorry, but they just have a name, they have a history, they have a resume. So, you know, like you go to Target and they're always soliciting what they have to sell. We have this week. We have that week. How many comic stores are really doing that? I mean, they'll put it up on their website, but how many are telling you, you know, hey, we've got Tales from Neroesville. This is a great anthology book, blah, blah, blah. I bet you that simple little blurb or whatever could garner 1 or 2 readers to start, which builds, right? And if they come in for Neroesville and they see you supporting indie, maybe they try other indie books, and then, or maybe they pick up new titles because they got the itch for something new and exciting. And it just helps them increase their pull list in stores. Now, am I saying it happens all the time? No. But, you know, this back of the catalog mentality is because you put us there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like an experiment to be done, but nobody will do it. Put all the indie books up front, put all the Marvel DC in the back and bury them, and let's see how the tide changes. Because Marvel and DC, I love them to death. I love these characters. They're just not what they were, though. They're not.
And to add on to that, so you're talking about that Godzilla Monopoly, $40. Say they got 50% off and sold it. They made $20 on that. That's a one-time sale. Our books are continued sales monthly. So, you know, how many books would they have to sell? You know, even if, you know, if they brought 3 of our books in and sold them for 2 months, they made more money.
And it's not just that. At a lower ticket item, they're going to look to buy more stuff. Like they're going to buy other properties as well. Exactly. Len, I got an answer for you. This is the reason why they don't want to sell to chains, which I'm going to be changing. Returns. All these chains want returns. They used to order huge amounts because there's no repercussion if they don't sell, and they would have to take, and the distributors would have to take them back. There was no cap. There was no other outlets either, though. I'm working on a system that will allow returns capped, and what we can do with those returns if they come back so the publishers can still make money, because there's a lot of other outlets now. There isn't just comic stores. And I want to go to other chains because comic books are at an all-time low, I think. Do I think they're going to die and disappear? No, they're not. The medium's never going to die, but it can suffer a great deal. And I think a lot of people had their head in the sand, and Diamond started to wake some people up. I still don't think it's woken everybody up. I mean, I feel for these publishers that have their inventory with them, but if I was a publisher and my inventory is with Diamond, and I saw what was going on, pencils down, their deliveries were coming in crappy, they lost all the big names, I'm pulling my inventory. I'm pulling it. And I told people, pull your inventory. They're going to be filing bankruptcy. I told people this, and they all told me I was crazy and didn't listen to me. And I knew they were going to file in the first quarter of the year. And the proof is I announced Philbo 2 weeks before their bankruptcy because I knew. And then people were still in denial. Oh, they're bankrupt, but they're still in business. No, man, they're done. They're done. And people said I didn't know what I was talking about, and they gave me crap because I'm a nobody, and I get it. Nobody listens to the little guy who hasn't succeeded in anything yet. Fine. But I wasn't wrong. And now Chase Bank, the debtor, is suing the publishing companies because of a Maryland document that was required. It's a loophole to get their consignment inventory back. So the whole industry is kind of topsy-turvy right now. So I came in and I tried to do something different, a different way with Philbo that was fair to everyone, right? My percentage is extremely low. It's really low. So I do things to keep my costs down, but I protect the publishers and I try to be fair to the retailers. You know, the percentage for retailers is based on bulk pricing. You know, it's like any other retailer. The more you buy, the more you get. We're actually 5% better than Lunar is comparably to sales. For example, I have no minimums. I have some stores that have only ordered 4 or 5 books from me. That's it. I've had stores that have ordered 300 books from me, right? You know, it's all over. But if you order 4 or 5 books from Lunar, you're getting a 35% discount. Me, you're getting 40%. So we're doing better than Lunar comparably, apples to apples. If you want to compare me to when you buy $1,000 worth from Lunar every week, then I can't compete. But again, you're not buying $1,000 from me. So I just wanted to provide an outlet that lets these publishers that were gatekept by Diamond that won't get a chance to get out there. There was a retail owner, I won't name their name, that did a blog trying to blast me. And they said, they talked to the head of Lunar, and they both agreed that if you can't do like a 300 or 800 print run, you shouldn't be in distribution. And my problem with that is this. Should a business not be allowed the chance to grow? I mean, does everybody come out of the gate doing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? I don't think so. That's like saying you're a comic store and you don't have a right to be open unless your pull list is at least 80 people and they're paying on time. Yeah, it's like that's an absurd elitist comment to make. Everybody deserves a chance to fight. Now, you may not win. You know, maybe tragedy gets out there and the sales are just not there because maybe the book just isn't good enough. Okay, I can live with that. But I really believe tragedy is as good as anything out there. And if Peter David, Chuck Dixon, and Howard Mackey can say that, then I believe them. It deserves a shot to just at least be in the ring. You know, get it out there to enough people to let them see it and let them decide. That's the free market, right? They'll let me know. So, you know, look, there's some retailers that are buying up all this publisher stock in the fire sale right now. It's stolen property, and the retailers are not all of them. There's some that are very strict; they're not going to do it, and there are some that are buying it up and they're happy to get at 70% off. They don't care that it's bankrupting publishers. They're just doing their thing, and it just always call me naive, and that's fine. But it's like the source material is about the good guy winning, heroes at the end of the day. And this industry doesn't seem to know the source material. It's pretty cutthroat.
Yeah.
I know I keep going on these tangents. I'm sorry. It's difficult because I'm really trying to do something good here, and I'm trying to help. And we have a lot of stores that have been working with us, and we thank them so very much for their for their support of indie, and we really hope it continues to grow. Like I said, sales were better than I thought, but I want to see books like Tales from Neroesville really, really, really get out there. It's a really good book. It really is. I'm not just saying that because of who Jason is and what he does for me, or because he's a friend. It really is a good book, and it's cleverly written, and it deserves your attention. I really, really, really mean that. I really do.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to go into your LCS, your comic shop, and ask about Philbo books. Ask about ordering, books through Philbo. You can go on the website and see what books are available there. The comic store can go in and sign up for an account, and if we get some word out there, we're only going to grow. And guys like me, my orders for the first issue were small, but that's not a bad thing. Like, I was thrilled when I got my first invoice or my first, PO sheet showing me how many books we sold, because that's where I'm starting. That's the floor. That's how I look at it. That's my floor. And now it's time to grow. And I think as people read them, it's only up from here.
And that's the thing. It's not about the money you make right now. It's about the fan base you grow. The money will come.
Yeah. And, I'm not subtle. My books are good. No shame in my game. My books are good. I put my books up against anything else out there, and if you read them and you feel different, let me know, because I'm telling you, and that's not, stroking my own ego. I'm a decent writer. I'm getting better with each, story that I write. The current 2 stories that I have artist drawing right now, I think are some of my best work, but I get great artists on my books. Like, that's, regardless of my writing being good to growing and getting better, which should be every creator's goal. You want to get better. We're introducing artists you would have never heard of, or probably never heard of, had you not gotten into our, our stuff. And they're good. Just because they're not working for Marvel or DC doesn't mean they're not top-notch artists. So,
right.
I'll put my books in tragedy and, a bunch of the other books up against anything out there. And picking up our book, one of our books, means way more to us than picking up that, new Batman series that they just started, or the Deadpool one-shot where he kills Marvel Universe for the 1500th time.
And that's the thing is, we're not doing gimmicks, and we're not forcing you to buy extra issues. We're just trying to get you to give it a shot, because we think you'll like it. And if you don't, all right, we thank you for trying, but give it a shot. I mean, I wish we could do some sort of sample size. Take 5,000 people, hand them Tales from Neroesville, and hand them the new Teen Titans. And let's poll them and see who enjoyed what more. Yeah. I have faith and belief that Neroesville will give them a run for their money. I really do.
Yeah,
I really do.
And we're working, man. I talk to Phil a lot throughout the week. We know that each other, we're running ourselves to death. My job is a son of a bitch. And, I was joking with my daughter yesterday that I went over to visit and I had 19,000 steps in, and that's a lot of steps in a day for, an older guy like me. And, we're busting our ass, and then we're getting home and, we're making comics, and we're not making comics to entertain ourselves or make ourselves feel good. We want to entertain people. We get home from work. We know how much, work life and life sucks and can throw at you and all that. Sit down and, read a comic book and relax. And then, that's what I tell people. This is to get you away from the real life BS. Mm-hmm. Sit down, relax, and escape for a while. Crack a beverage of choice and, have some fun.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Comics, I think, have gotten a little bit away from it because they've tried to emulate. Like, comics have always taken the social content of the time and done stories. Like, you had Speedy on drugs in the 80s and, things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they've become so realistic now. Everything's the boys, everything, which is good. It's a good story. I like it. But I don't want it to be everything today, Everything, Superman's always pissed or angry or evil. They've blurred the lines between the true hero and the villain, and life is too close to home. It's too dark now. It's too tied to the political atmosphere and socioeconomic and everything else, to where you don't feel like you're escaping reality anymore. If I were to pick up, I mean, like, I'll tell you where the exception. You look at what Donny Cates was writing for Marvel with Venom, with Thor. Donny Cates was really popular and did well because he did pull you away from the real world. His stories were entertaining and different and good, and he introduced new characters, and he took your characters you love and he kept true to them. He did things right. He didn't write out of activism. He wrote because he loved the characters, and look how well they sold.
Well, and part of the problem is that Speedy story, that you're talking about. I would bet we can all agree to 99.9% heroin's bad.
Right.
Shoot and smack is bad. The activist stories they're telling today, they're splitting their readership right down the middle.
I agree.
That is not our goal.
Like Charles said, these are original stories, different types of stories, not just superheroes, but every genre. Now, here's the funny thing, too. You'll have people that maybe watch this and they go, oh, these guys are just trying too hard to get you to buy into the fact that indie's on par, and it's not. Not all indie is, but a lot of it is. A lot of it is absolutely on par with mainstream right now. And some of it surpasses it. I mean, some of the artwork is not great anymore in these major publishers, and the writing is not great, and the sales aren't there. So I would say to those people, why don't you prove me wrong? Buy a bunch of indie books, market the damn things, put them out there, let people know you have them, tell them what it's about, like that woman in Texas who moved to Florida did, and let's see. Going to bed? Come here, little button. I love you. Sleep well, sweet dreams. God bless. Hey, baby girl. You remember Jason? Say hi, Jason.
Hi.
Hi. Night.
She's sleepy. I love you. She made an awesome dinner tonight. Her first dinner. Good job.
Nice.
Yeah. She wanted to make dinner and show us that she could do it, and she did fantastic. It was very tasty. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to encourage her. She actually really did a good job.
I still want one mashed potato.
I love you. You get some rest. I'll see you in the morning, okay?
Also, I'm cooking dinner tomorrow night, too.
Cool. All right, I love you.
See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. We're going to wrap this up in a minute, but tell us why tell us why the fans should tell their stores to order Neroesville, and tell us why the stores should listen.
I just want to put out good, entertaining books. Like I said before, if you were a fan of Marvel back in the day, before, politics split everybody down the middle, creators and readers alike, and you just want to read good stories that are not hammering you over the head with morals or, civics, this, that, the other thing. It's a good book. If you want to sit back and read a comic book and finish with a smile on your face and say that was fun, I mean, that is my goal. I'm not making books for myself. Granted, if I don't get the stories out of my head and onto paper, I may go further insane. But I'm making the books for the readers, for comic book fans, to enjoy themselves. Leave your work nonsense. If your partner's driving you insane, the kids are driving you nuts, your bills or whatever, sit down. Like I said, sit down, pour a beverage of choice, crack open a comic, crack open an issue of Neroesville, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to have fun. And when you're done, you're going to say, that was good. What's next? Because, that's what I hear most feedback is, I'm looking forward to what's next. When's the next book coming out? It's for you. Like, it's for fans. That's it.
Very cool. Yeah, and I'll put my 2 cents in. The reason why I think you should pick it up is the writing is solid, the art is solid, it's professionally done, but the characters are fun and have different personalities, some that you can relate to, or somebody that's like that. The stories are engaging. They have twists sometimes that you don't see coming, that are very clever. And it was just entertaining. It was fun. I didn't feel like I was getting beat over the head with anything. I was just reading a fun, solid, entertaining story. And for the 20 minutes or so that I was delved into the book, I was into the book. And I think that's the key. If I can read a book and I'm actually in the book to where there's nothing going on around me, I've tuned everything out and I'm invested, I'm in this book, the book is good. And that's Tales from Neroesville. And I mean that sincerely. This is probably the best book you don't know about. But we want you to know about it. And that's my honest, sincere 2 cents. Okay? Jason, like I said, no matter what his relationship business-wise has been to me and the friendship we've developed, I would say this if he was a total stranger. It's worth your money. It's worth your time. And he really cares about these stories. None of these guys are corporate shills. None of these guys are beholden to shareholders. None of these guys are writing for any other reason than they just want to get the stories out there because they really think that you can enjoy them and they want to share that with you. Your money goes longer with us. Yeah, your money goes a longer way with us, and our money's going to go back into the book, making it even better. Yeah. We're not here to make money off of you. We're here to try to make money from you that is you feel is worth it, and invest in us. We want you to invest in our books, invest in our stories, invest in our characters, invest in our worlds. And we hope that we want you to get something out of it. We want you to enjoy it. We don't want to just push variants on you. And I mean, we do variants sometimes because we need to, but we don't just we're not pushing them on you as gimmicks. We're pushing them on you because we want you to give us a try. I guarantee you, if my sales were, where I'd love for them to be right now, instead of the hundreds in distribution being the thousands, I wouldn't need to do variants. I would just do one cover and that's it. I don't want to be gimmicky. I just want you to give the book a shot. That's all. Yeah.
And not for nothing, but for decades, you've been hearing about how poorly the big publishers treat their creators. I mean, look at how, Siegel and Schuster, Kirby, Ditko, how poorly they treated these guys. Know that your purchases with us, ordering our books, we're taking care. We're not making them rich, clearly, but we're taking care of our guys. Our guys like working with us. They come back. That's why I keep working with the same artists in rotation. Like, I find guys that
value them.
Yeah, we value them, and they are reliable. They're getting it done for me, and they like working for me because I pay, I promote. So. These two ugly mugs you're looking at right now, these aren't the only two guys that you're supporting. You're supporting a team behind our comics, and they deserve it just as much as we do, if not more. My artists are great guys, and some of them are supporting their families off of their art. They're not just doing my books. They're doing other books, and this is how they're making a living. This is not how Phil and I are making our living.
And just keep this in mind. Strangers in Paradise, Astro City, Concrete, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, She, Nexus, Badger. I mean, what was that? What was that alien ninja book? Oh, what was it called?
Zen
Intergalactic Ninja.
That one out of my ass.
AC Comics, which is in our catalog with FemForce, and they actually sell very well. I'm very happy that they sell well. You can't tell me that indie isn't quality. Indie is just like mainstream. It's going to have its misses, but it also has a lot of hits. But you don't know about the hits because you don't give it a shot because it's got the stigma of indie. Well, indie's not what it used to be, guys. I have covers from major professional artists. I'm going to be doing signings with them in October. And Jason's working with artists that are on par, if not better than some of the Marvel artists right now. So the quality is there. You just gotta get the stigma out of your head and try. And for stores that say it won't sell, all we're asking you is to find out. Give it a try. It's a small investment. I know you're not here to lose money. You're here to make money. I'm not saying buy 500 issues. We have no minimum. Buy 2 of each. Buy 2 of each. Oh, and I want to dispel a myth that was said by someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. So if the book is $4.99, you get 40% off. You spend $3 on the book, you get a $2.99. You get the $1.99 markup. Now, if you put shipping in, we ship once a month at this point because the orders are low. Probably estimated a quarter to 50 cents on top of that. So you can walk away with $1.50 a book. Is it a big markup? Of course not. But it's still $1.50, where the publishers are lucky if they're making 10 cents or losing. But you make $1.50 a book. This individual had said you have to sell 2 books to make the price of a book back. And I think they're very misguided because they're only looking at the markup. They forget that the customer pays you back the $3 that you spent. Then there's the markup. It's not just you only get the $1.99. You get $4.99 back to you when you spent $3. So you get the $3 back reimbursed, and you make $1.99 or $1.50 depending on your shipping or whatever. So no, you don't have to sell 2 or 3 to make back the money on 1. You sell 1, you make $1.50. Is that a big markup? No. But are comics a big markup? No. What are you making on Marvel? You spend $10,000 on a Marvel order, and all right, maybe you get the 50% discount, so it's $2.48 a book. You're making 48 cents more per book than you are with us. If that 48 cents is the difference between your survival and not, I don't know what to tell you. You might, maybe comics aren't the best shop to open, but we all have tight profit margins. But you can make $1.50 to $1.99 on 1 book. You do not have to sell 2 or 3 to make your money back. That is just someone who doesn't understand financing, doesn't understand the market, doesn't understand how the books work. And I just proved it to you. It's real simple.
$1.99 is more than we're making on that 1 book.
Oh, we don't even make 10 cents if we're lucky with our print costs.
Yeah.
Some of us are losing money unless you order more. So, look, again, I'm going to go over the math for those who maybe didn't follow. Jason has a book for $4.99. I'm a store. I buy it for $3 at a 40% discount. Okay? Now, we're just going to stay with those numbers for now. I understand that shipping, you chip into that with shipping costs as well. But the thing is, your shipping chips into every book that you buy, not just this one. All right? So just go by those numbers, say. I bought the book for $3 from Jason, who sold it to me for $3, but the retail is $4.99. So I turn around and a customer comes into my store and he buys it and he hands me $4.99. I just got the $3 back that I paid Jason. So I broke even there. And I just made the $1.99 on top of that. This person doesn't know finance, is forgetting that you get the $3 paid back to you, and they're thinking you only make $1.99. So they're thinking you have to sell 2 books to make $4 to make a profit on that 1 book at $3. That's not true, because the customer pays you back the $3 you spent. So now that $1.99 is your markup. That's your profit. So I just wanted to clear that up because I never got to address that. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, that person's not making any sense.
No, and the scary thing is this person's a marketer. But what I found out is that they actually market and they get publishers to go over to Lunar. So they had an agenda for why they were attacking me. That's how bad it gets. That's how ugly it is. And they incited people to attack. So it is what it is. But the math didn't math because it's not real. And it's grasping at straws, and it's not knowing what you're talking about. Having said that, we have rambled on long enough, and forgive me, guys, if it seems like I'm defensive and I'm coming at all the time, but I need to address these things as a business because false information will be given, and it may lead you away. I want you to see and work with me based on merit and results. It'll make you money if you invest in it. And if it doesn't, then you walk away. But don't listen to people who have an agenda. Don't listen to people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. Sign up. Give it a shot. The prepay turned some people off. Well, I'm sorry, but when millions of dollars of invoices went unpaid for Diamond and they didn't have the volume of Marvel or DC anymore, it helped crush them. It's not the reason. It's one of many reasons, though. I am not a venture capitalist. I am not going to wait 60 days for you to pay me for my first catalog, and we're already on our third. That's not smart business. It's not smart business, and it's not going to happen. You go to any other retail place in the world, and you pay for your goods first. You don't get them. You don't get to pay 60 days after you bought your Amazon stuff. It doesn't work that way. So what I'm doing is not unfair at all. At all. All right.
And you're not buying our books to make us feel good. You're not buying our books to make us rich. You're buying our books to secure future sales and income for your store and your business. I
had one store who ordered from us, and I'm very grateful to them. But they said to the publisher that they ordered a lot of the books because they're doing sign with them. So this guy gets $100, makes $100, and I'm going to make such and such on these books. Again, people don't understand how the business works. I don't know how they're surviving. I don't get that $100. I get a 5% of that. What the hell is that? I didn't make any money. The publisher gets the money. And then who gets the money after that? The printer. Because the publisher now has to print those books. And so that money goes to the printer. I made dollars. I made a few bucks. No more. I made less than the store, and I'm putting all the work in. The publisher, whatever money he made, goes straight to the printer. So the printer made all the money. So,
and anybody out there watching this, who looks at our cover price, who looks at $4.99 cover price and thinks, that that's too high, or we're overcharging. You can go to Google comic book printing and see what a full color 24, 28 page comic book costs to print. And then you'll say, why are these guys bothering?
And that's the thing is, now there's offset printing, but the thing is, when we know you're not going to order a lot right now, I am not going to invest in 3,000 books to sit there. I don't have $1,800 for that 3,000 books yet, plus, that's with shipping. $1,800 to lay out so I can sit on inventory. Stores don't want to sit in inventory, so why should a publisher want to sit on inventory? So we're strapped. We're stuck. And it's funny that you mentioned the $4.99. The answer by one of these people was, we'll raise the price. Wait a minute. You don't think the books are going to sell at $4.99, so you don't want to order a lot of them. But the solution is to raise them to $6.99 when Spider-Man is sitting next to it at $4.99, and that's your solution. Remember, folks, some people speak clearly out of their butt crack.
Yeah.
And you need to understand that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Knuckle Supper Studios, Tales from Neroesville. Tell your store you want to give it a shot. It's $5. In New York, you spend $80 on cigarettes a week. Just give $5 a try, please. You won't be disappointed. You really won't. I know you won't. And hindsight's a bitch, right? I mean, sometimes a title blows up by issue 20, and all of a sudden now everybody's scrambling to get the number one and can't find one. For $5, it's a good investment, right? And if it never became anything, well, it's $5. But what if it does?
Yeah.
What if it does?
And this, as Phil said, these initial print runs are low.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, if Neroesville tragedy, the Duck book, if one of them takes off, there are not a ton of first prints out there.
Correct.
So.
And remember, if you bought Neroesville on Kickstarter, these are first prints again. They have barcodes and they have new covers, and he redid some of the interiors. So these are first prints all over again. So even if you backed his Kickstarters, pick these up. Pick these up because they're first prints again. They're newsstand prints.
And you know, the first 3 issues of Neroesville, when we did the crowdfunder, I was going for that 80s feel. I was telling Phil I did the books on newsprint, and they came out great for newsprint, but they just feel, you know, they feel cheap compared to the later books. So these new books through Philbo are printed on, you know, 70-pound paper, full color, nice. You know, high gloss. They're you know, shout out to Comic Impressions who does my printing. I love their work, and these books are gorgeous.
Cool. And I look forward to receiving them and getting them out there. Jason, I am greatly appreciative of everything you do. I hope you know that. I mean that sincerely. From all the work you do, from all the efforts you make, for never, ever, not once letting me down. Not once. You've always been there when I needed you, and I'm very grateful to you. You have been a good friend and a fantastic person to work with. I highly recommend you work with everyone. That's why I recommended you to Charles and everybody else that I can, and DM Ray, because you cannot go wrong. So I do appreciate you as a friend, as a business relationship as well. I appreciate you as a creator, because I really think your book is solid, really good. And I really hope your sales continue to grow and people give it a shot and they jump on board the Knuckle Supper train, because they're missing out until they do.
I appreciate that. And yeah, it's like I tell the guys, I don't look at these other guys as competition. I tell them, like, we're all in this together. We're all fighting the same fight. So, you know, anybody out there willing to order our books and help us out, you know, you help one, you're helping all.
I agree. Having said that, I'm going to let it go. I'm not even going to go over the tragedy stuff. I'm tired, and my wife and I would like to have some time together. And I'm just going to leave you with what I always leave you with. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.